व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमः। ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे कृष्णा। I'll briefly go through what we discussed last time. Last time we discussed 90th shloka. Karma yattam phalam pumsam buddhihi karmanusarini tatapi sudhiya bhavyam suva vicharyaiva kurvata. Yeah, according to one's destiny, a person gets different results in his life, the results of his karma in his life. According to one's destiny, one's intelligence also works. But still, an intelligent person must perform his actions only after thoughtful discretion, after thinking wisely. And this is the verse we discussed. We also discussed in this regard the Dyuta Krida, how Yudhishthira Maharaj knew the power of destiny, but then he did not, although despite knowing the ill effects of gambling, despite experiencing the ill effects of gambling, but he said, oh, I'm destined to participate in the second gambling match. My destiny is pulling. And without thinking, oh, now I should refrain from the gambling, he again went to play gambling for the second time. Therefore, just because of one cannot give destiny as an excuse to not utilize one's intelligence to think properly and act. There is also a beautiful shloka. One second. The shloka comes in Hitopadesha. Sujirnamannam suvichakshana sutaha sushasita stri nripati susevitaha suchintya choktam suvicharya yatkritam sudirga kalepi nayati vikriyam. That food which is digested properly, sujirnamannam, and suvichakshana sutaha, a son who is learned, who is intelligent. Sushasita stri, a woman who is chaste and obedient, who is trained properly and who is actually uh, who is chaste and very eager to render service. Nripati Susevitaha. Nripati Susevitaha. That means that king who has been served nicely. अच्छे प्रकार से सेवा किया हुआ राजा. सुचिन्त्य चोक्तम सुविचार्य यत्कृतम. Those words which have been uttered after thinking properly, and that activity which has been performed after thinking deeply. So all these things will give great benefit for a long time. So 6 things are mentioned. 6 things will give great benefit for a long time. अच्छे रीति से पका हुआ भोजन, विद्यावान पुत्र, सुशिक्षित अर्थात आज्ञाकारिणी स्त्री, अच्छे प्रकार से सेवा किया हुआ राजा, सोचकर कहा हुआ वचन और विचार कर किया हुआ काम ये बहुत काल तक भी नहीं बिगड़ते हैं. These things they'll give benefit for a long time. So therefore, this 90th shloka talks about how one should actually think and perform activities, although destiny, according to destiny, the results and the is determined, but still one should not give up one's intelligence to act. And then in the 91st shloka, a story is told briefly about the power of destiny. How a bald man, in order to protect himself from the rays of the sun, he goes to a palm tree to get the shade of the palm tree. But a large palm fruit falls in his head, and then his head breaks. This is the power of destiny. When a person is destined to get something, wherever he may go, that he cannot escape those problems. He was trying to escape from the scorching sunlight which is falling on his head. But then he escaped from that problem. He went to the shade of the tree. But then a much bigger problem came. His head itself got broken. On the 92nd shloka, Ravi Nishakarayor Grahapidanam Gaja Bujangam Apayorapi Bandhanam Matimatam cha Vilokya Daridrata Vidirago Balavaniti Me Matihi. So in this shloka, it said that when I see the sun and the moon exposed to the assaults of the demon Rahu, when I behold the bonds of the elephant and the serpent, when I find voice in poverty, the thought strikes me, how painful is the fate. So these verses are talking about destiny. And then 93rd shloka, we discussed that Srijati Tavat Ashesha Gunakaram Purusha Ratnam Alankaranam Bhuvaha Tadapi Tak Shanabangati Bangi Karoti Ched Ahaha Kashtam Apanditata Videhe. This is actually a sarcastic way speaking about the act of destiny. The destiny actually, Vidhi or destiny, makes a person, creates a person with so many wonderful qualities. And then in a moment, it takes away the person's life, it takes away the person's qualities. Moment breaks him down. So how unreasonable is the action of the creator? Arjuna had actually power by which he could actually astonish the demigods in the heavenly planets. But then after Krishna's disappearance, all that power was suddenly taken away from Arjuna. Vanchitoham Maharaja Narina Bandhurupina Yena me apakritam teju deva vismapanam. Suddenly the power was taken away. So if the power and the abilities which were bestowed upon Arjuna, even if they could be taken away, then what to speak of a common people? So the power and the different abilities were bestowed upon Arjuna for executing the mission of the Lord. And when the mission of the Bhagavan is completed, then that power was taken away from Arjuna. That power was no longer required for Arjuna to go back to Vaikuntha. The power was needed for executing the mission of Bhagavan. After the mission was over, the power was taken away. So we can see that destiny, the acts of destiny may appear to be like a puzzle, may appear to be unreasonable. These were the verses we discussed. We'll go to the 94th shloka. Patram naiva yada karira vitape dosho vasantasya kim no lokopyavalokate yadi diva suryasya kim dushanam धारा नैव पतन्ति चातकमुखे मेघस्य किं दूषणम् यत्पूर्वं विधिना ललाटलिखितम् तन्मार्जितुं कक्षमा. Second. Yeah, in this shloka, again about the power of destiny. Yada karira vitape. So karira vitape patram. There is a particular tree called as karira. करील नाम के एक पेड़ है, there's a tree. यदा करीर विटपे पत्रम नैव वसंतस्य दोषः किम. So if the kareera tree, if it does not have leaves, then what is the fault of the Vasanta Ritu? The Vasanta Ritu, the kareera vitape does not have the those leaves, then what is the fault of the Vasanta Ritu? Vasantasya doshah kim. Yadi, so normally in the Vasanta Ritu, all the trees are filled with so many leaves and flowers. But if the Karira tree does not have leaves, then there is no fault in the Vasanta Ritu. Yadi Vulukaha Diva api na avalokate Suryasya dushanam kim. If the owl is not able to see even in the daytime, then how can you blame the sun? The fault is in the Vuluka, fault is in the owl. Because the owl is destined that it cannot see in the daytime. And that is how owl has been created. Karira tree has been created in such a way that it will not have leaves, even in the Vasanta Ratu. That is how it has been created. Yadi chataka mukhe taraha na eva patanti tarhi idam megasya dushanam kim. Suppose in the chataka bird, it is keeping its mouth open. If not even one drop of water falls in the chataka bird, can you blame the clouds for that? You can't blame the clouds for that. There is no fault in the clouds. So vidina purvam yat lalata likitam tat marjitum kaha. Whatever has been written in one's lalata means in one's head by the vidhi, whatever has been destined by the vidhi, whatever has been written by the vidhi in one's head, tat marjitam kaha. Who can actually uh, erase what is written in the what is written by the vidhi? Nobody can do it. So this is actually speaking about the power of destiny. So who can wipe off whatever is already written on the forehead by the Creator? So these verses actually speak about how the destiny is the most powerful thing. For example, there is also another shloka in the Hitopadesha. This shloka says that Sahi Gagana Vihari Kalmasha Dvamsakari Dasha Shata Karadari Jyotisham Madhyachari Vidurapi Videyogat Grasyate Rahunasau Likitamapi Lalate Projitam Kaha Samartha. So it is talking about the moon. Gagana Vihari. चंद्रमा जो आकाश में विचरता है, it is actually it travels in the sky. That is how glorious is the moon. Kalmasha Dvamsakari. It removes the darkness. अंधकार को दूर करता है. दश शतकरदारी. सहस्र किरणों को धारण करता है. It is having thousands of beautiful moon rays. Jyotisham Madhyachari. It moves in the midst of the stars. पर विदुरपि विदेयो गाद ग्रस्यते राहुनासौ. उस चंद्रमा को भी भाग्य से राहु ग्रस लेता है. Even the Chandrama is swallowed by the Rahu. So therefore, whatever is destined according to the Vidata, according to the providence, nobody can erase that. So these verses talk about the power of destiny. Of course, this is talking about the power of destiny, but when we see from the point of view of bhakti, bhakti is the most powerful process which can completely eradicate the destiny. Pure devotional service to Krishna. There are 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. The first characteristic is called as kleshagna. Kleshagna means bhakti destroys all the suffering. The suffering can come from 3 causes. Suffering comes from papa, sinful activities, sinful desire, and avidya, ignorance. And there are 2 types of papa. Aprarabdha papa, unmanifest sinful action, and prarabdha papa, manifest sinful action. So bhakti, the characteristic of Shuddha Bhakti is kleshagna, that it destroys all the 4 causes of suffering. Aprarabdha papa, prarabdha papa, bijam, and avidya. And this is described, this is discussed in great detail by Srila Rupa Goswami, along with the various Shastri quotations, is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Aho batashvapachato gariyan yajjihvagre vartate namatubhyam te pustapaste juhuvusashnurarya brahma nuchur nama grinanti yete. Even a dog eater becomes immediately qualified to perform the Vedic sacrifices by once hearing, chanting, or remembering about the Supreme Lord Bhagavan. So the birth in a dog eater's family is a sign of one's prarabdha karma. But even the prarabdha karma is destroyed by the act of bhakti. Similarly, there are other verses which talk about how the bhakti destroys the sinful desires also. In other processes other than bhakti, they may destroy the sinful karma, but they cannot destroy the sinful desire. The processes other than bhakti are like shaving one's face. We shave our face, but then after some time, again the hair grows. Similarly, processes other than bhakti, they may destroy the sinful karma, but then after some time, because the sinful desires are not destroyed, again a person commits sins. It's like a hair growing again. But bhakti destroys even the sinful desires. And bhakti destroys the root cause of sin, that is avidya. Yat pada pankaja palasha vilasa bhaktya कर्माशयं ग्रथितमुद्ग्रथयन्त सन्त तद्वन्नरिक्तमतयो यतयो विरुद्धम् श्रोतो गणास्तमरणं भज वासुदेवम्. Sanat Kumara instructs Prithu Maharaj in the Srimad Bhagavatam by serving the lotus feet of Krishna, uh, the the bond of fruitive activities, the tight karmashayam gratita mudgatayanta santa, the tight bondage of fruitive activities arising from one's avidya, that is completely destroyed by serving the root of the Lord's lotus feet, Bhagavan's lotus feet. Bhakti destroys the avidya also. Bhakti destroys the aprarabdha papa, unmanifested sinful reaction also. Rupa Goswami quotes from the 11th canto, just like Bhakti is like a blazing fire. Just like a blazing fire consumes all that is put into it. Similarly, Bhakti destroys all the aprarabdha karma. Aprarabdha karmas are infinite, but all the aprarabdha karmas are eradicated by the practice of Bhakti. So, this is for this verse, Niti Shloka talks about nobody can destroy what is written by the destiny. But bhakti is a process, very powerful process. It can actually completely eradicate one's past karma, sinful desires, and avidya. We'll go to the next shloka.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So bhakti is also part of destiny.
Is bhakti part of destiny? No. See, based on a person's past activities of bhakti, a person may get an opportunity to associate with a devotee. Based on the past activities of bhakti, a person may get an opportunity to associate with a devotee. But then when he gets the association of a devotee, he has to take that association. He has to take advantage of that association. So that free will is there with him. So, so there's a combination of destiny, and there's a combination, and then there's an element of free will also. And sometimes a person may not have passed past spiritual credits, but sometimes a devotee may, out of his compassion, he may bestow mercy upon the common people. But then that person has to take that association of the devotee, that free will is there. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Next shloka. नमस्यामो देवान् ननुहतवितेस्तेऽपि वशगा विधिर्वन्द्यः सोऽपि प्रतिनियतकर्मैकफलदः फलं कर्मायत्तं यदि किममरै किञ्च विधिना नमस्तत्कर्मभ्यो विधिरपि न येभ्यः प्रभवति. So this verse again talks about the how the past activities or the destiny puts a person in different situations. This verse gives the example of the three gods, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. देवान नमस्यामः, मैं देवों को नमस्कार करता हूँ. हाँ, देवान नमस्यामः. हाँ, किंतु I offer my obeisance to the devatas, but किंतु ते अपि हत विदेहे नूनम वशगाः संति. That means these devatas also, I offer my obeisance to the devatas, but even the devatas are under the control of the vidhi, under the control of the destiny. So vidhi vandyaha, therefore vidhi, destiny is more worshipable. Therefore destiny is actually more worshipable than the devas. Kintu saha api pratiniyata karma eka paladaha. But even the destiny is subservient to the karmas which a person performed. Yadi phalam karmayattam. Therefore, the destiny, kintu saha api pratiniyata karmaika phaladaha. That means, so I offer my obeisances to the devatas, but then more powerful than the devatas are the vidhi, because the devatas are also under the control of the vidhi. But even more powerful than the vidhi is the karmas a person performed, because vidhi is subservient to the karmas a person performs. So therefore, I worship the karmas. Yadi phalam karmayattam. यदि फलं कर्मायत्तम अमरैः किम विधिना न किम तत् कर्मभ्यः नमः विधिः अपि येभ्यः न प्रभवति. Because even the devatas are according to the karma phala, and that karma phala is subservient to the karma. Therefore karmas are the most powerful, because whatever a karmas perform, based on that a person gets karma phala. According to the karma phala, even the devatas go through difficulties. So you can see the he is talking about a various ascending order of superiority. I offer my obeisances to the devatas, but superior to the devatas are the vidhi, because the devatas are subservient to the vidhi. But superior to the vidhi is the karma phala, because vidhi is subservient to the karma phala. But superior to the karma phala is the karma, because a person gets the karma phala according to the actions a person performs. So therefore, I offer my obeisances to the karma, which is the most powerful thing in the world. So it said that मैं देवताओं को नमस्कार करता हूं, पर वे भी तो दुष्ट विधि के वश में है. अच्छा, तो इस विधि को ही वंदना करना चाहिए, पर वह विधि भी तो निश्चित कर्म का ही फल देता है, और फल कर्म के अधीन है. तो फिर देवताओं तथा विधि से कुछ लाभ नहीं. बस उन्हीं कर्मों को नमस्कार हो जिन पर विधि का भी वश नहीं चलता. So therefore, let us not offer obeisances to the devatas or the vidhi. Let us just worship the karma. Let us worship the karma because karmas are the topmost. So this verse talks about karmanam mahimanam bhavati. Namastat karmabhyo vidhirapina yebhya prabhavati. So we see actually this is what is called as a karma mimamsa philosophy. This philosophy was spoken by Krishna in the beginning of the Govardhan Leela. Krishna spoke this karma mimamsa philosophy in order to stop Nanda Maharaj for performing the Indra Yajna. So I will just go through those shlokas. This is in the 10th canto, 24th chapter. So Krishna says that 24th chapter. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Karmana Jayate Jantuhu Karmanaiva Praliyate Sukam Dukkam Bayam Kshemam Karmanaiva Abhipadyate. It is by the force of karma that a living entity takes birth. And it is by karma alone that he meets his destruction. And his happiness, distress, fear, and a sense of security all arise as the effects of karma. And then Krishna says, Asti ched Ishvara kaschit phalaroop anya karmana kartaram bhajate sopi nakhya kartu prabhurhisa. Even if there is some supreme controller who awards all others the results of their activities, he must also depend upon a performers engaging in activity. This is what exactly Krishna is speaking. Even if there is a supreme controller, the supreme controller is subordinate to the performer engaging in activity. After all, there is no question of being the bestower of fruitive results unless fruitive activities have actually been performed. Kimindre neha bhutanam swasva karmanu vartinam anishenanyata kartum swabhava vihitam drinam. So the living beings in this world are forced to experience the consequences of their own particular previous work. Why Krishna is speaking these shlokas? In order to stop Nanda Maharaj from worshipping the Devatas. Since Lord Indra cannot in any way change the destiny of human beings, which is born of their own nature, why should people worship Indra? Swabhava tantro hijana swabhavam anuvartate swabhavastam idam sarvam sadevasura manusham. Every individual soul is under the control of his own conditioned nature, and thus he must follow that nature. This entire universe, with all its devatas, demons, and human beings, is based on the conditioned nature of the living entities. Here, Krishna speaks that how the one swabhava is the topmost thing. Everyone is helplessly forced to act according to one swabhava. Dehan uchchava jantu prapyot srijati karmana shatrur mitram udasina karmaiva gururishwarah. Because it is karma that causes the conditioned living entity to accept and then give up different high and low grade material bodies. This karma is his enemy, karma is his friend and a neutral witness. Karma is his spiritual master and karma is the controlling lord. So Krishna is glorifying the karma. Tasmat sampujayet karma swabhavastasva karma krit anjasa yena varteta tadevasya hi daivatam. Therefore, one should seriously worship work itself. In India, there is a famous philosophy, work is worship. Krishna is speaking that work is worship. This work is worship is nothing but the karma mimamsa philosophy. Therefore, one should seriously worship work itself. A person should remain in the position corresponding to his nature and should perform his own duty. Indeed, that by which we may live nicely is really our worshipable deity. He is saying work is worship. This is the karma mimamsa philosophy. So actually Krishna speaks this philosophy, but this is actually wrong actually. This is wrong because later we will see in the Uddhav Gita how Krishna refutes the karma mimamsa philosophy. Before that, so in these verses, Krishna essentially gives 6 arguments. The first is karma alone is sufficient to determine one's destiny. Second point he mentioned is that one's conditioned nature is the supreme controller. Swabhava is the supreme controller. Third, the modes of nature are the supreme controller. The fourth point, Supreme Bhagavan is simply a dependent aspect of karma. And the fifth point he mentioned is Bhagavan is also under the control of karma. And that is what this verse says. And sixth is one's occupation is the actual worshipable deity. These are the 6 arguments presented by actually Krishna.
Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt. Can you repeat the fourth one?
Fourth is Supreme Lord is simply a dependent aspect of karma. He is dependent on karma. So Krishna speaks this actually 6 arguments, but they can be refuted. Krishna himself is refuted in other places. For example, the first is karma alone is sufficient to determine one's destiny. So law implies a lawmaker. When there is a law, that means there is a lawmaker, and the lawmaker is above the law. So demigods, they cannot change the law of karma, but the pure devotees can change the law of karma. Chayeva karma sachiva sadhavo dina vatsalaha. The devatas, they cannot change the law of karma. They can award a result only according to a person's action. But the devotees can interfere with the person's karma. Therefore, we cannot say that karma alone is sufficient to destroy one's destiny, determine one's destiny. Yeah, based on one's karma, a person is destined to get certain results in his life. But a person has the free will, how he can respond to those situations. If the free will is not there, then the entire Shastras will be meaningless. Shastras give so many do's and don'ts. Do this and avoid this. If the free will is not there, then all these instructions mentioned in the Shastra will be meaningless. Because one is destined to make the decision. No, one is not destined to make the decision. One is destined to go through a particular situation in one's life, but he can choose to react in a particular way. That free will is there with him. The second part, that Swabhava is the supreme controller. Swabhava is the supreme controller. So that also is wrong. Krishna says that Nigraha kim karishyati, what can repression accomplish? So higher than Swabhava is the Atma. Yeah, the Swabhavas, one's conditioned nature pulls a person to respond or to perform a particular action. But still he has the free will. Swabhava is like a person, suppose sitting next to a driver and telling the driver to go in a particular road. But the driver still has the steering wheel in his hand. He can choose to direct the car in a different direction. So Swabhava is on the subtle body. But if the Atma connects with the intelligence provided by Krishna in the Shastra, if the Atma connects with the intelligence provided by the Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, then the Atma can restrain himself from the pushings of the Swabhava. So Karma Mimamsa philosophy says that the subtle body is eternal. Karma Mimamsa philosophy does not talk about the liberation. It says that the subtle body is eternal. But Kapila Dev says in the Sankhya Yoga system that Bhakti destroys the subtle body also. So Bhakti can actually, by the Bhakti and by the higher intelligence coming from the Shastra, we can say no to the pushings of the Swabhava. It is like sometimes the people give this analogy, how the Swabhava cannot be changed. For example, Chanakya says that, he gives this very gross analogy. Even if a person cleans one's buttocks hundreds of times, still it will only produce stool only. Similarly, some philosophers say that, even if you try to train a person in different way, the Swabhava cannot be changed. Like that, people glorify people say Swabhava is the supreme, and the Swabhava cannot be changed even if you give so much of instruction, even if you give so much of training. Just like the buttocks, how much ever you may clean, it will not stop producing stool. It will only produce stool only. So people say the Swabhava cannot be changed. That the Swabhava is the supreme. Like that, some philosophers say. But Sanatana Goswami says the Swabhava can be changed by the process of Diksha. What is the shloka he says? He says that the mercury can be converted to a gold by the proper process of alchemy. By a proper scientific process, mercury can be converted to gold. So similarly, even a low-born person, by the process of Diksha, he can actually, he can become a Vaishnava, he can become a Brahmana. Yata kanchanatam yati kamsyam rasavidanatah tata diksha vidanena dvijatvam jayate nrina. As a bell metal, when mixed with mercury, is transformed to a gold. A person, even though not golden, who is impure, who has an impure Swabhava, can be transformed into a Brahmana simply by the process of Diksha. This was the second argument proposed by Krishna, how it is wrong. And the third argument Krishna said was that modes are the supreme controller. But elsewhere,
Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt. So, when we say about this prarabdha karma and aprarabdha karma, so prarabdha is always, we know that you can't change your looks or some implication of some uh, quote or something like that. There are four things you can't change. So that will be there. But aprarabdha you can change with bhakti. Is it like that?
No, prarabdha karma is also destroyed by bhakti. Prarabdha karma is also destroyed by bhakti. But we see in our life, prarabdha karma, our body is a result of the prarabdha karma. The prarabdha karma is destroyed by bhakti according to Shastra. Does that mean, but we don't see practically that suppose a person is born as an ugly person or is born in a low family and he takes to bhakti, bhakti destroys the prarabdha karma, but we don't see it is not that his parents are immediately changed or his kula is immediately changed or immediately becomes beautiful. We don't see that. Then how do we explain that? So yeah, bhakti destroys the prarabdha karma, but Krishna allows the prarabdha karma, the entire part or some part of the prarabdha karma to Krishna allows the prarabdha karma to continue to act in the life of a devotee. For what purpose? In order to increase the eagerness of the devotee to attain him. And in order to maintain the confidentiality of the process of bhakti. So, and in order that there are other philosophies like Jnana Marga, they say that prarabdha cannot be destroyed without experiencing it. Like that the Jnanis say, certain philosophers say. But in order these other philosophers not get destroyed, Krishna allows the prarabdha karma to act in the life of a devotee. In order to increase his eagerness, in order to maintain the confidentiality of the path of bhakti, in order that other philosophies don't get destroyed. But actually, prarabdha karma is destroyed. You are understanding? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so that philosophies which what I couldn't understand the other philosophies. Third thing.
There are certain other philosophers who say that prarabdha cannot be destroyed unless you experience it. So Krishna Krishna doesn't want to like eradicate this philosophy. These philosophies are also there. So in order to protect these philosophies also, Krishna allows prarabdha karma even in the life of a devotee.
Okay, understood.
Otherwise a devotee, because of prarabdha karma, his parents should immediately change. Or if he is an ugly person, he immediately should become beautiful. And that may happen in the life of a Vasudev leper. He regained his beauty. But that doesn't happen in the case of other devotees. Kubja, maybe she regained her beauty. That's not the case with others. That's exception in the case when Krishna personally performed the pastimes. But otherwise, in order to maintain the confidentiality of the path of bhakti and in order to increase the eagerness of the devotees, if there is no setbacks in the life, then the devotee eagerness to attain Krishna will not increase. Therefore, Krishna allows the prarabdha karma to act in the life of a devotee. Hare Krishna. So the third argument given by Krishna is modes the supreme controller. But then modes are not the supreme controller. The seventh chapter Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasas tamasas chaye matta yeveti tan viddi natvaham teshu te mayi daivi shesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante mayam yetam tarantate. Krishna says how the modes are acting under the control of him. He is the controller of the modes. So we can see in the Govardhan Leela, Krishna as a small cowherd boy is speaking to Nanda Maharaj. It is not a formal philosophical setting where the Guru is speaking to the disciple. But in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is as a guru. He's taken the role of a guru and is instructing Arjuna as a disciple. Therefore, what Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita, those words have to be taken greater authority than these words. Because these words in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that the modes are acting under the control of the modes are my energy. The energetic is always superior to the energy. And the fourth argument presented by Krishna is that Supreme Lord is a dependent aspect of karma. So there are some philosophers who say that Krishna is suffering in hell for his karma because he was instrumental in the Kurukshetra war to take place. Or Krishna suffered his karma, that is why he was pierced with arrows of Jara. But these philosophers, they do not know the divine explanation. They have no faith in the inconceivable nature of Bhagavan. So Brahma Kumaris believe that Krishna and Ram are those who performed the best karmas. Or Jains, they say that Krishna is suffering in hell. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spruha itimam yobijanati karmabir nasabadyate. I can never be touched by karma. One who knows this, he will also not be touched by karma. And then, so the fourth and fifth point, both are covered under that Supreme Lord is a dependent aspect of karma and he is also under the control of karma. Both are wrong. And the sixth point is that one's occupation is the actual worshipable deity. But actually, work is worship. No, work is not worship. Rather, work should be performed as a worship of Krishna. When the work should be performed as a worship of Krishna. Sve sve karman abhirata samsiddhim labate naraha. So whatever is one's occupational duty, they should be performed as a worship of Krishna. Yata pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvam vidam tatam. Swakarmanatam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manava. By that a person attains perfection. So therefore, of course here, so Bhartrihari is actually glorifying the karma, but sometimes when we take it literally, it is like a karma mamsa philosophy. So therefore, I'm speaking these points. But sometimes we may have to emphasize sometimes when a person is too much thinking about the destiny and not actually putting one's effort to in the present time. So at that time, we may have to emphasize about the importance of performing one's action. Or sometimes a person is actually blaming somebody else for the suffering he is going through. That time he has to be reminded, whatever you are going through, that person is not the cause, your own karma you performed in the past, that is the result. That is why you are actually going through suffering. In that way, sometimes we may quote the slokas, but literally we can't take that karma is the supreme. And there are many other arguments about karma mamsa philosophy. Krishna refutes the karma mamsa philosophy in other places. So we'll take maybe one more shloka, I suppose. 9. Brahma yena kulala vanniyamito brahmanda bandodare Vishnur yena dashavatara gagane Shipto mahasankate Rudro yena kapala pani putake Bhikshatanam karita Suryo bhramyati nityameva gagane Tasmai namak karmane. This is also exactly in the same theme. Let's understand the meaning. Yena Brahma Brahmanda Bandodare Kulalavat Niyamitaha. Yena मतलब जिसने विश्वरूपी बर्तन के भीतर ब्रह्मा को कुमार की भांति नियुक्त कर दिया. Basically, Yena, that means that destiny, that Vidata. Vidata only has made Brahma like a kumhar, that means a potter. And he has made Brahma, he has actually engaged Brahma like a potter is engaged to make the parts. Similarly, Vidata, the destiny has engaged Brahma in making different bodies in this world. Like a potter is engaged to make different parts, Brahma is engaged to make different parts. और येन विष्णुः दशावतार गहने महासंकटे क्षिप्तः. That destiny by which Vishnu, who actually takes 10 avatars, even that Vishnu is put into great troubles in different avatars. विष्णु को अत्यंत दुखदायक दशावतार धारण करने की कठिनाई में डाल दिया. The destiny is actually controlling even Vishnu. The destiny is forcing Vishnu to take different avatars and appear in this world and go through different problems in this world, in killing the demons, in maintaining the dharma in this world. So you can see how the destiny even actually controls Vishnu. And then Yena Rudraha Kapala Pani Putake Bhikshatanam Karita. That destiny, Kapala Pani Putake Bhikshatanam Karita. Once Rudra जिसके मारे शंकर जी हाथ में कप्पर लेकर भीख मांगते फिरते हैं. Rudra takes a he takes a begging bowl made of a skull, and then he wanders with that begging bowl made of a skull. So destiny is making Brahma to engage like a potter in the hollow of the universe. Destiny is making Vishnu to take 10 avatars and go through so many problems. And destiny is making Rudra wander with a begging bowl made of a skull. And destiny is making sun to constantly travel in the three worlds. Sun does not have a single moment holiday. Suryaha nityameva gagane brahmyati. So we can see the destiny or the is controlling even the great gods, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and Surya. So therefore, to that destiny, I offer my obeisances. Tasmai karmane namaha. Again, whatever I spoke in relation to the previous shloka. So these verses, like sometimes in a poem, actually, they glorify. When they want to glorify Purushartha, they will glorify Purushartha like anything. When they glorify destiny, they will glorify destiny as the highest. That is how the nature of poem or the kavya. The Siddhanta, yeah, we have to understand from the Gita. So definitely Vishnu is not under the control of destiny. He is not under the control of karma. But in order to glorify the destiny, it is described as if like even the great gods are under the control of the destiny. That is how the shloka spoken here. And yeah, and maybe we'll discuss this 97th shloka next time. So I have 12 shlokas to go. So today we covered 3 shlokas. Hare Krishna. Anybody has any questions?
So, Prabhuji, like when one says work, work is worship, then we can always say that in order to understand how to make work worship by studying Bhagavad Gita. Like, if anytime anybody tells us, like, work is worship, so we can always say that yes, work is worship, but how to make work worship, only Bhagavad Gita will teach you, Is that is that the way you can just smartly, like try to, you know?
Yeah, we can say.
Yeah.
Essentially, the work should be of Bhagavad Gita teaches. The work should be performed as a worship of Krishna by offering the results of that work to Krishna. That is how the work becomes a worship. That is how
And
the work
also,
becomes divine.
yeah. And also last time, in the last class, yourself mentioned about how Vasudev did the endeavor, to save Devki. He just didn't
Mm.
keep it to destiny. So, like,
Mm.
similarly, even Rukmini, she wrote a letter to Lord Krishna. She was not certain whether he would come. So she
Mm.
did her endeavor against her destiny.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, these verses, depending on what the person needs, which dose of the medicine. Sometimes the people need the dose of destiny medicine, because when a person is putting purushartha in the wrong direction, then he needs a dosage of destiny. Sometimes a person is not willing to put the purushartha in the right direction, then he needs the dosage of the purushartha effort. So then we have to give accordingly administer that dosage of the medicine. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, the classes will be on like even during Diwali days or
See, next week, next Monday, I'm actually will be in the train. Sunday night, I'm taking the train for Puri. So we can have Niti Shataka class and maybe Tuesday night. Also. Otherwise, once the yatra starts, I'll not have the classes. We'll give a break actually. Other classes during Deepavali, I'll see what. During the yatra, 15 to 16 to 21 is the yatra. So that time we'll not have class. Okay, other classes. Some classes, we'll see. Mostly will not have. Deepavali, Tattva Sandha. Deepavali is on Sunday.
I think Dhanteras is on 11th.